running backs, congratulations to Jahmyr Gibbs, highest paid running back in all the damn National Football League. I love it, but that's still a value. That's still a bargain. All right, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, those dudes are bargains, man. You guys are still getting them for the low. Pay the running backs, man. Let's go.
They're going to pay him the money that I feel like is really well deserved. You know, lately a lot of people have been cutting into me about certain players because I've said I don't feel like this player deserves a contract, and I don't feel like some players deserve these type of contracts. But I do think that Jahmyr Gibbs definitely deserves this contract. I think he's been beneficial for the Lions, and I would like to see him remain on this team, and he will remain on this team. And I just hope that they can get this all worked out. But it has to be awkward to see a guy that you need on your team there at practice every day, not practicing. It's not a good thing, and I think that if the Detroit Lions want to have a positive relationship with somebody that's so beneficial for their team, they should be willing to pay this guy. Don't let it get too long and then you've ruined a relationship when you didn't have to.
We all knew this was going to happen. We just ain't know when. And it happened today. Jahmyr Gibbs is now the highest paid running back in NFL history, man. He signed a contract extension today with the Detroit Lions on a 3-year deal, just like Bijan Robinson. But his deal is worth up to $75.5 million. But he also get $51.5 million in guaranteed money. Robinson only got 51, so he got more guaranteed. I told y'all the contract gonna be similar to Robinson when Robinson got his. Like, I knew he was gonna get a deal similar to his. So I don't know about the signing bonus. All I know is a 3-year deal, and both got down the same amount of money in guaranteed money. So running backs is getting paid. JT just got paid. Gibbs just got paid. It looked like the running backs, if you are good, you will get that bad from your NFL team.
Jahmyr Gibbs got his chili. He got his chili, getting to his chili. What he get, 3 years, buck 65, 67, somewhere in there. 75 million possible. The 51, I think 51 guaranteed. I put on the screen. Highest paid running back in the league. I thought he was gonna get a quarter, 25 million, but a 22.5 for 3. They ain't gonna pay a running back 5 years, 25. You're not gonna do no shit like that, but 3 years. So the Lions control him through this season, next season, and for the next 3 seasons. So for the next 5 seasons, the Lions control his destiny. Like I did a video the other day when people was tripping about how, Brad Holmes was kind of being stoic or kind of nonchalant about asking the questions about Jahmyr Gibbs' contract situation. You can tell a lot of people ain't never negotiated before. You got to take the emotion out of it. Even if you negotiate with somebody that you hate, you got to leave the emotion at the door. Even if you negotiate with somebody that you love, you got to take the emotion out of it. It's business. You know what I'm saying? You hear people say it's not personal. It's business. It is. It's just business. You got to take your personal feelings and leave it at the door. So, great negotiator. He's not going to speak about where they at. Pretty sure they probably waited to negotiate so long because they knew, hey, we're going to wait for Bijan. We're going to wait for Jonathan Taylor. We're going to wait this out, or possibly we're thinking about bringing somebody else in. And guys like Mike Valenti said they should have just played hardball. You take care of your guys that's been, outstanding, upstanding citizens on and off the field. Gibbs has been, really good dude, explosive. Why you wouldn't want to take care of him? Why you want to just, not give him him and his family that security? He deserves it. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason you shouldn't pay him. But check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Happy for him, bro. I'm always happy to see brothers get to their chili. Even if the people I don't per se care about, I'm always happy to see these brothers feed their families, feed the, hopefully take care of his money and stuff. But he definitely big time, If you're gonna feature me and I'm gonna be a full-time back and you believe in me, give me my chili up front. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to give people their money up front, and a lot of this is based on, what you've done. And a lot of it, more of it is based on where you're going, because we already paid you for what you did. In some situations, guys are underpaid for what they did. Jahmyr Gibbs was severely underpaid. I think he was only set to make $1 million this year, and then next year 14. So he's been severely underpaid, you know what I mean? And that contract don't kick in for 2 years. So you pay him. You pay him, And this year, you got a lot to prove. The offensive line, there's going to be some adjustments there. Still don't know who's going to start. I mean, Miles Frazier's, I heard, been looking good. The brother of the center, K. Mays, I know it was a video of him getting blew up in a one-on-one with Talik Williams. I really wouldn't read much into that right now. Still early. A lot of these veterans, they knock the dust off and all that type stuff. So, he should be in a better situation. It may be slow this year. It may start off slow. They got the Saints instead of going to the Lambeau because, that offensive line got to galvanize. The number one thing when you got a line like that, the number one thing you really want to run the ball. That's how you get them to jail. That's how you get them in rhythm. The run game for offensive linemen is like a layup. Like what the layup used to mean in basketball, get a couple layups, then you start shooting little 10, 15 footers, then you start going outside shooting the three, you find you a rhythm, you know what I mean? So, but, Gibbs is big time. They expanded his role, every year, whether, really last year he was the feature back, and towards the end, he slowed down. He got stopped on a lot of short yardage situations. Sonoy Vaki was a guy that was probably supposed to really be the split back with him. That was supposed to be his spell guy. And, he broke his nose or something, got poked in the eye, nose got broke after that. He been injured every step of the way. That whole class, Manu, Giovanni, all that stuff, right? But, he's caught the ball. He got a full-time role. Last year in the short yardage situation, a lot of the offensive line issues. There's going to be some line issues early. Anytime you do what they did with the line, you added K. Mays, that's going to be a huge adjustment. Not the greatest run blocker at center. That's another thing that kind of raised the antenna, but really good in pass blocking. Whether it's Miles Frazier take over the left guard spot, you got Tate Rallage and the rookie on the right tackle. I think Tate should flip the left. Then they should exert the other kid, Frazier or Mahogany at the right. That's just my opinion. Tate and Sewell already formed that relationship. Might as well just take it to the left, but in general, there's going to be some adjustments to be made. So, but Gibbs, a big-time player, year one, they drizzled him in. I think he had a soft tissue injury to start. I don't know, they slowed him down, kind of wasn't like just sprinkled him in, and then eventually people were saying, oh, he needs the full load. No, did he? Then the next year he had like a little soft tissue injury. Then he took off. And that I think last year was his third year. The third year was so prevalent because the question was, can he take that next step in the passing game? And they did. A lot of Texas routes, a lot of these different routes that he ran, they did. So, I like it. I did like him and David Montgomery pairing together. I figured they should have kept that going. But at some point, they're like, he's ready to take off on his own. But me personally, I would have just kept that going. Tiki and Ron Dane did it a little bit. It's a way to do it, but who knows? Montgomery still looked good last year. You know what I mean? So, but Pacheco, angry runner. Kind of has some injuries here and there. But in general, with his injuries, now where Gibbs probably gonna take 70% of the snaps, he'll be a situational back end. But I was really looking forward to Sonoy Vaki taking that step this year and playing in the backfield and seeing what he could do with the ball. Saying he can catch it, he can run it, big guy. And right now, we just seem like the Sonoy Vaki experiment is over with. But love to see Jahmyr Gibbs get his chili. I love to see all these guys get their money, man. Love it, bro. Love to see brothers get money, feed their family. So, congratulations to him. And for y'all to think the Lions wasn't gonna pay him is, come on. When have they not really played their play outside of Ndamukong and Sue? They gonna keep their main guys because they want to keep y'all asses buying tickets. But hey, hit the link in the description. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate the love and support. Shout out to Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Peace.
Let the chips fall where they may. Jahmyr Gibbs is paid. He is now the highest paid running back in NFL history with a $67 million deal that could be worth up to $75 million. Jahmyr Gibbs in just 3 years has already become one of the most electric players, not just of this decade, but in modern NFL history. He had 1,200 rushing yards this last year, 1,400 the year before, 945 as a rookie, and this includes 600 receiving yards last year, 500 in his second year, 300 in just year one. He's already one of the best running backs that's ever touched the field per touch in NFL history. He is averaging well over 5 yards per carry in his career as well. This is a player that has tremendous potential, maybe MVP potential, and the Detroit Lions lock up their guy for the foreseeable future. And this gives Jahmyr Gibbs an opportunity to even re-up again while still being in his prime. Great deal for Detroit. Great deal for Jahmyr Gibbs.
You gotta love the pettiness from Jahmyr Gibbs on his new deal. Jahmyr Gibbs, the final running back to finally sign his new contract, as he just signed a new 3-year, $67.5 million deal that can go up to $75.75 million with $51.5 million guaranteed. And this contract now makes him the highest paid running back in football, overtaking Bijan Robinson, who just signed his new deal like 2 days ago. But this man decided to pass up Bijan Robinson by only $0.25 million. So that means 2 days ago, after Bijan got his new deal with the Falcons, Jahmyr Gibbs went to the Lions front office and said, I want to become the new highest paid running back in NFL history. So they gave him $250K more. Honestly, love the pettiness here. Much respect to Jahmyr Gibbs for this. But what an offseason it's been for the running backs. I mean, a couple years ago, none of these running backs were getting paid. But now in just one offseason, we saw Jahmyr Gibbs get over $20 million, Bijan get over $20 million, Jonathan Taylor got over $20 million, and Achane got $16 million a year.